Building a city of the future has been a goal of many governments and localities. There are places in the world where extraordinary things occur. Thus, many individuals have impossible dreams as a result. There is no denying that evolution occurs everywhere, and Saudi Arabia is already at the beginning of the future. Saudi Arabia recently announced plans for its own futuristic metropolis called the Line last year. It is a future city worth $725 billion that can house 9 million people. It consists of a 500-meter-tall, 200-meter-wide, mirror-like wall structure. Why did Saudi Arabia make such a ridiculous announcement? Is this even plausible? Or is it merely a means of drawing attention on a global scale? It is obvious from the name alone that this is not an ordinary line. Rather, it is a line that symbolizes a fresh revolution in human engineering and building. Make sure to watch until the end of the video so you don't miss anything. NEOM. Before tackling the project, let's first find out about the funding company NEOM. Many Middle Eastern countries are working to transition away from carbon-based economies and toward alternatives that draw visitors from across the world for tourism, commerce, employment, or residence. This is necessary given how quickly climate change is processing. One such instance is the NEOM development, which will be constructed in Saudi Arabia. According to their website, NEOM is a vision of what a new future might look like. NEOM will be a place to go and a place to call home for those who have big dreams and wish to contribute to creating a new paradigm for sustainable living, working, and prospering. We can infer that the company will act as a refuge for persons with high ideals and a desire to improve living conditions for future generations. The Line. Prince Mohammed bin Salman plans to construct 2 parallel skyscrapers that are 500 meters tall and span 170 kilometers across desert and mountainous territory. The Line is the project, and realizing it would be like 2 World Trade Centers next to one another. Considering that just 12 skyscrapers worldwide have surpassed the 500-meter mark thus far, the concept of constructing 4,000 of them simultaneously and in the same location seems completely absurd. The Line, which will be constructed in Saudi Arabia's Tabuk province's northwest, will stretch 170 kilometers inland from the Red Sea over coastal desert, mountainous terrain, and upper valley sceneries. Public parks, offices, and homes will be stacked one on top of the other in the majority of the interiors, which will be vertically constructed. In essence, their idea is to stack a typical city's infrastructure vertically on top of one another. Additionally, their proposal calls for the use of cutting-edge technology and is completely sustainable. Vertical gardening will be installed into the 500-meter-high walls to feed the inhabitants. The Line is not the first work to use a linear structure. In 1882, the Spanish urbanist Arturo Soria y Mala created the idea of the linear city. Utilizing infrastructure such as water, electricity, gas, and transportation along a constricted linear metropolitan corridor allows for a significant energy savings. The idea behind the design was to urbanize the countryside and ruralize the metropolis. This idea is echoed in the Line. One does question its effects on the landscape, though. How can a continuous 500-meter-tall mirror wall that spans 170 kilometers of the landscape and reflects desert heat and light influence the local biodiversity? The direction of the Line seems to be east-west. Although this would be ideal for sun thermal management, it will probably create a lot of shadows in the middle of winter. The Line asserts to have created a new standard for sustainable growth. A small portion of NEOM's 26,500 square kilometer property, its footprint is only 34 square kilometers, less than 4 square meters per person. As a result, the landscape may be treated with more care than one might often expect for a megacity. The NEOM proposal also includes a port for shipping, an airport, research facilities, sports and entertainment venues, and tourist attractions. The problem. The project seems impressive environmentally at first glance. The distance from any place in the city to the urban edge is no more than 100 meters. No portion of the Line is more than 20 minutes away thanks to a high-speed electric public transportation service. Living in such a massive building suggests a cramped lifestyle. However, each person would theoretically benefit from an average urban volume of 1,000 cubic meters. That's a lot more hospitable than most living conditions in congested cities. Unfortunately, a complex vertical transportation system would be required, as in many high-density, high-rise structures. The building has the same height as a typical 125-story skyscraper. If you're enjoying so far, don't forget to take some time to appreciate our content by smashing that like button and, well, subscribing to our channel. You wouldn't want to pass on missing our amazing content, would you? At $55,000 per resident, the project's cost also appears reasonable. Let's assume that this is just relevant to infrastructure and is feasible in a nation with employment costs that are significantly lower than those in industrialized nations. Even said, it is still unclear how the largest building ever built can contain modern infrastructure, ultra-high-speed rail, and other services. The announcement of an astonishing project in the middle of Neom, which is intended to become Saudi Arabia's own architectural icon, will heighten interest. Furthermore, according to the website, Neom is a vision of what a new future might look like. Therefore, it might also be considered a research project for cutting-edge urban planning and transportation ideas. The line's announcement has successfully brought Saudi Arabia to the attention of the world, but the majority of answers weren't always complimentary. There are a lot of unsolved questions. The large carbon footprint that something like this will leave behind is not mentioned, despite the fact that they intend to develop a city with a transit system that is entirely sustainable and emits no emissions. Oldfield at the University of New South Wales calculated that constructing the line will produce up to 2 billion tons of CO2, which is more than 4 years' worth of the UK's entire CO2 emissions. When you take into account these massive construction emissions, the idea of building a carbon-neutral metropolis doesn't sound all that compelling. Additionally, critics have not been slow to draw attention to Saudi Arabia's track record on human rights and are already estimating the human cost of Saudi Arabia's ambitions. There are various indigenous groups in the area that have long resided in towns and villages. Around 20,000 people, according to foreignpolicy.com, are compelled to make place for Neom. Additionally, Saudi security agents are alleged to have killed at least one protester by shooting him. Additionally, the nation has failed to enact strong labor regulations, which has resulted in widespread mistreatment of migrant workers. So far, the authorities have not provided a clear plan for resolving the problem. Raising funds for the trillion-dollar megaproject will be difficult because of the country's questionable human rights record. The country is still largely shunned by the West and attempts to partner on economic matters that are met with opposition, contrary to the planners' hopes of luring foreign investors. Some of the designs for Neom and the line are simply too intricate to be realized, even if they do receive funding. According to the majority of observers, the finished designs will seem considerably different from those that are being promoted on media platforms. The line affirms that human experience will be at the core of its policies, that progressive legislation would be in place, and that access to healthcare will promote individual empowerment. But because new immigrants bring their own ideals, preserving this vision can be challenging. Would you visit this megaproject were it to become a reality in the future? Or even reside in this artificially constructed city? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. That's it for this video. Subscribe to our channel for more content, and don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.